देश की आन बान शान, अदम्य साहस, सहिष्णुता और सम्मान के साथ मां भारती के लिए जिन्होंने दे दिया अपने प्राणों तक का बलिदान, ऐसे वीर सपूतों को करते हुए प्रणाम प्रारंभ करते हैं हम आज का प्रोग्राम यादों की बारात सैंगी के संग। यूं तो मैं इस प्रोग्राम की होस्ट को अनेक तरह से बुलाती हूँ, किंतु आज मैं इनका परिचय कुछ इस तरह से कराना चाहूंगी। आमंत्रित करती हूँ देश की वीर सपूत, एएमसी में 33 वर्ष तक एक डॉक्टर के तौर पे कार्यरत रह के देश की सेवा करने वाले ब्रिगेडियर आरपी वर्मा की बेटी डॉक्टर संगीता सचदेवा को।
Good afternoon everyone and Jai Hind. Yes, it is time for the second segment of Watan Tere Liye, a program which was aired on 15th August on our 75th Independence Day on Lucknow radio as a special tribute to our soldiers. So welcome aboard, and without wasting much time, let's start with the program. And in this segment, we have two Vir Chakra recipients, two brave soldiers who have really made us proud by their acts of bravery and how they have fought the enemy and come back to tell us what really happens on the war front while we sit safely in our homes, oblivious of what actually is happening there. Lucknow Radio and your dost and is program ki host Dr. Sangeeta Sachdeva really feel blessed and proud that they have been part of our program. And for those who did not get an opportunity to listen to the program when it was aired that day, I must insist that you listen to this segment. So Jai Hind, and here we go. Now moving on to our next segment. Good afternoon everyone and Jai Hind. Yes, it is time for the second segment of Watan Tere Liye, a program which was aired on 15th August on our 75th Independence Day on Lucknow radio as a special tribute to our soldiers. So welcome aboard, and without wasting much time, let's start with the program. And in this segment, we have two Vir Chakra recipients, two brave soldiers who have really made us proud by their acts of bravery and how they have fought the enemy and come back to tell us what really happens on the war front while we sit safely in our homes, oblivious of what actually is happening there. Lucknow Radio and your dost and is program ki host Dr. Sangeeta Sachdeva really feel blessed and proud that they have been part of our program. And for those who did not get an opportunity to listen to the program when it was aired that day, I must insist that you listen to this segment. So, Jai Hind! And here we go. Moving on to our next segment, we will be talking to soldiers, हमारे देश के सैनिक, who have served the Indian Army, Air Force and Navy, and get an insight what a life of a soldier is all about. The glacial heights of the ice-covered Siachen, the lofty peaks of the Himalayas do not deter his spirit one bit. When we have a sound sleep, he stands vigilant and alert day in and day out, 24/7 to protect the last frontiers of our nation. The spine-chilling icy winds in the treeless desert of Ladakh does not deter his courage. The shimmering heat of the Thar desert does not hamper his morale. Nor do the rain-drenched jungles in the far east. He stays calm and composed to serve our nation and is undoubtedly our unsung hero, the soldier. The Indian government awards the Vir Chakra in recognition of acts of bravery and gallantry against the enemy in the battlefield, land, air or sea. The Vir Chakra is the third highest medal of honor after Paramvir Chakra and Mahavir Chakra in that order. India has a long tradition of fighting some of the fiercest battles in history, and its independence and security stand on the brave sacrifices of its military personnel. And he does everything for his Watan. Watan Tere Liye. And you are listening to this program, Watan Tere Liye, dedicated to this soldier, this unsung hero. Lucknow Radio and your host for this program, Dr. Sangeeta Sajdeva, is proud to announce that we have two such brave hearts with us. Both have received the Vir Chakra from Indian government in recognition of their acts of bravery and gallantry. And I really want to bow down and welcome both of them. We feel blessed to have the opportunity to talk to you, to listen to you, and have you in our midst. So first, let me welcome our Delhi-based war veteran who played a crucial role in capturing the Hathimatha Peak in the 1971 war against Pakistan. He is Major General Vinod Bhanot. His act of bravery is the stuff legends are made of. A dramatization on this feat of his in 1971 has been televised by Sahara TV in the serial Mission Fateh. On the night of 16 December 1971, Major Vinod Bhanot, who was commanding a company of Gorkha Rifles, was assigned the task of capturing an enemy post in the Kargil sector. He planned to approach the post from the rear along a most difficult and unexpected route. The advance was slow because of the difficult terrain. Enemy was able to bring down effective machine gun fire on the advancing column. Under his inspiring leadership, the advance was continued. And on nearing the objective, Major Bhanot rushed to that machine gun post which was firing on them and was causing the maximum hindrance and neutralized it. The foothold thus gained was exploited with speed and the position captured after a fierce battle. Though completely exhausted, He also captured all the adjoining enemy positions. In this action, Major Bhanot displayed gallantry, leadership, and devotion to duty of a high order. So, welcome, Major General Bhanot. Salute. And let's hear what you have to tell us.
Thank you, Dr. Sangeeta, for inviting me on this program on Independence Day, which is a tribute to soldiers. It is all the more important as this year the armed forces will be completing 50 years after the India-Pakistan War of 1971. During this war, my battalion, which is the 5th Battalion of 3rd Gorkha Rifles, was moved forthwith from Ladakh to Kargil for operations. The battalion reached Kargil on 7th December 1971, where it came under heavy enemy shelling from enemy post 13620. We suffered 10 men killed, apart from casualties. My unit was tasked to capture the enemy posts astride the Shingo River, dominating the Srinagar, Kargil Road and Kargil Plateau. Despite stiff opposition and rugged terrain, the battalion pressed home their attack with dogged determination in the peak of winters, capturing 12 enemy posts, including the formidable Hathimatha feature between 8th December to 17th December 1971. The capture of Hathimatha on night of 16th-17th December was a do-or-die task to my company. In recognition of acts of supreme valor and sacrifice, the unit was awarded 2 Vir Chakras, 2 mentioned in dispatches, apart from the Battle Honour Shingo River Valley and the Theatre Honour Jammu and Kashmir. In spite of being shell-shocked and tired, the officers and men recovered very fast on the first day. The courage and determination to fight and defeat the enemy thereafter, occupying formidable defences, was mainly due to the Indian Military Academy motto, wherein the safety, honour and welfare of our country comes first. The unit motto, "It is better to die than be a coward in Gorkhali." The leadership provided by the officers. Motivation to avenge the death of our 10 brave men on the first day. The battle cry of the battalion, Ayo Gorkhali, one forgets everything. The training done over the years by officers and the men together. And finally, the regimental spirit or Izzat, wherein the battalion name has to be kept up.
We bow down to these acts of bravery. And actually his tale of bravery did not end there. When he was posted in Doda district of Jammu and Kashmir in 1996-97, he was assigned the job for the peaceful conduct of parliamentary and assembly polls. He lived up to the people's expectations and was awarded Vishesh Seva Medal on January 15, 2000. In addition to this, he was involved in Operation Bajrang and Operation Rhino carried out in Assam, apart from counter-insurgency operations in J&K. For this courageous war veteran, life is a synonym for challenge. And we salute you, sir, and thank you for being here with us. Sir, you have charged us, you have motivated us, you have left us awestruck. I want to dedicate this song to you and to all the soldiers and also all our countrymen. कि दिल से ये आवाज निकालो कि सुनो गौर से दुनिया वालों, बुरी नजर ना हम पे डालो, चाहे जितना जोर लगा लो, सबसे आगे होंगे हिंदुस्तानी. So let's hear it, sung by Abhi and Nikki for this show. A beautiful song. The song is from the movie Das and it is originally sung by Shankar Mahadevan, Udit Narayan, Mahalakshmi Iyer and Dominique.
अनेकता में एकता इस देश की शान है, इसीलिए तो मेरा भारत महान है. जय हिंद. सुनो गौर से दुनिया वालों, बुरी नजर ना हम पे डालो, चाहे जितना जोर लगा लो, सबसे आगे होंगे हिंदुस्तानी. सुनो गौर से दुनिया वालों, बुरी नजर ना हम पे डालो, चाहे कितना जोर लगा लो, सबसे आगे होंगे हिंदुस्तानी. हमने कहा है तुम भी कहो, हमने कहा है जो तुम भी कहो।
आओ हम मिल चुके बोले कुछ तो यारा, अपना जहां है सबसे प्यारा। आओ हम मिल चुके बोले कुछ तो यारा, अपना जहां है सबसे प्यारा।
हमने कहा है जो तुम भी कहो। जो अब तक न खौला वो खून नहीं वो पानी है, जो देश के काम ना आए वो बेकार जवानी है। जो देश हरारे हैं पानी के धारे हैं, हम काटे कटते नहीं। जो वादा करते हैं करके निभाते हैं, हम पीछे हटते नहीं। क्या बात।
वक्त है उम्र है जोश है और जान है, ना झुके ना मिटे देश का अपनी शान है।
वक्त है उम्र है जोश है और जान है, ना झुके ना मिटे देश तो अपनी शान है। हमने कहा है जो तुम भी कहो।
सिरगान से दुनिया वालों बड़ी नजर ना हम पे डालो, चाहे जितना जोर लगा लो सबसे आगे होंगे हिंदुस्तानी।
लिख रहा हूं मैं अंजाम जिसका कल आगाज आएगा, मेरे लहू का हर एक कतरा इनकलाब। सबके दिलों को मोहब्बत से बांधे जो हम में से जंजीर है।
ऊंचे उड़ाने हैं ऊंचे इरादे हैं, हम कल की तस्वीरें हैं।
जो हमें प्यार दे हम उसे यार प्यार दे, दोस्ती के लिए जिंदगी अपनी मार दे।
जो हमें प्यार दे हम उसे यार प्यार दे, दोस्ती के लिए जिंदगी अपनी मार दे।
हमने कहा है जो तुम भी कहो। सुनो गौर से दुनिया वालों बुरी नजर ना हम पे डालो, चाहे जितना जोर लगा लो सबसे आगे होंगे हिंदुस्तान। सुनो गौर से दुनिया वालों बुरी नजर ना हम पे डालो, चाहे जितना जोर लगा लो सबसे आगे होंगे हिंदुस्तान। बड़े अनमोल हैं ये खून के रिश्ते, इनको तू बेकार न कर। मेरा हिस्सा भी तू ले ले मेरे भाई, घर के आंगन में दीवार न कर। जय हिंद।
What an electrifying rendition, Abhi and Nikki. And now let's move on to our next guest, a special guest, Col.Lalit Rai, who is a retired Indian Army officer who was decorated for his brave actions during the Kargil War in 1999. As the commanding officer of the 1st Battalion of the 11 Gorkha Rifles, he was tasked with capturing the strategic heights of Khalubar in the Batalik sector during the Kargil War. For his inspirational leadership and conspicuous bravery of a very high order, he was awarded the Vir Chakra on 15th August 1999 by the President of India. So, Colonel Rai was commissioned into Gorkha Rifles, and after a number of instructional and staff appointments, he was assigned to command 17 Rashtriya Rifles, conducting counter-insurgency operations in Jammu and Kashmir. He was stationed with 17 Rashtriya Rifles even until after the 1st Battalion of 11 Gorkha Rifles was sent to the Batalik sector, Kargil. In May 1999, he was asked by the colonel of the regiment to take command of this battalion, and Col.Lalit Rai accepted. One of the best successful operations in Indian history, Operation Vijay, was led by Colonel Lalit. At one point, Indian troops were pinned down by effective and heavy volume of enemy fire. Realizing the danger of getting daylighted in this vulnerable position, Colonel Rai ordered 5th Platoon to clear the interfering enemy positions, while he himself led a handful of troops available in front to reach the top. The enemy, sensing the danger, counter-attacked these troops from 3 sides with 30-40 personnel. And during this counter-attack, Colonel Rai was injured in the knee. Despite his injury, he motivated, he encouraged his troops to fight courageously by setting a very high standard of bravery. He refused to be evacuated till such time the objective was captured. This act boosted the morale of his troops, who regrouped and captured the objective in one charge. The capture turned out to be the turning point in the Battle of Batalik subsector in Kargil War. This operation accounted for the killing of 25 enemy soldiers and capture of a large number of arms and ammunition, including a Stinger missile, air defense guns, and important documents. So, we are going to welcome this brave heart and a prolific speaker, a man who doesn't mince words, a man who touches your heart by what he tells you. It hits you hard. It also brings tears to your eyes. It also makes you introspect. It also makes you think. It also makes you realize what a soldier is all about. And it makes you stand up and salute them. Yes, Col.Lalit Rai, welcome to this program. And Lucknow Radio is really obliged that he has taken time out to be here with us and share his experiences and tell us what it is to be a soldier fighting the enemy right there while we are sitting in our houses oblivious of what is happening. When I asked him to be part of this show, in spite of having a very busy schedule, he said, I will definitely try. And then when I added, my father is also a retired brigadier from the army, he said, even now, if I don't even have time, I will take out time for this show. First of all, it's a tribute to soldiers, and second, you also are a daughter of a Fauji. This is the brotherhood and love and respect they have for each other. And this is what happens when they are at war and they are together there. He will tell you himself. So welcome, Col.Lalit Rai.
Hello, Dr. Sangeeta. Thanks a lot for the lovely introduction. Well, hello Lucknow. This is Colonel Lalit Rai, ex-commanding officer, 1st 11 Gorkha Rifles. My regimental center, the 11 Gorkha Rifles Regimental Center, is located in Lucknow. And as a young officer, I still remember on my motorcycle as a young bachelor, zipping around the Ganj area, eating a lot of those Daseri mangoes from Malihabad and gorging on the tunde kebab. Those were the beautiful days I still remember and I associate with Lucknow. As far as the war scenario is concerned, with the Kargil War, it is to make you understand and relate better. It is much like how the COVID hit us. It was a big surprise. Just like when COVID came, nobody knew what hit them. It's a surprise, totally caught unprepared. Very little was known about the enemy or the virus. And because there wasn't enough information, one did not know how to prepare oneself for the fight. You felt absolutely vulnerable. There was a certain amount of uncertainty in the air. And because of that, I feel it was like a warlike situation where the front lines were brought straight down to the front gates of your houses. And the soldiers that normally fought the wars at faraway borders were actually now being fought right in front of your gate, and the soldiers were you. So this is the scenario. Total ambiguity, uncertainty, very dynamic situation where things change in seconds, lot of death and mayhem all around you, chaos, confusion, fear, panic. Similarly, this was the type of a situation. The only thing was, since we are trained soldiers, the panic was not there. We were cool-headed, and even if we did not know the enemy fully, we were fully prepared to meet and challenge whatever it was that was threatening our borders.
Well, Colonel Lalit, that was wonderfully expressed, and that similarity between the current situation, well, is exactly not the same, but yes, I can relate to it, being a COVID warrior myself, and had mentioned this in the beginning of my program. So, Colonel Lalit, there's a lot I want to ask you and want to learn from you, but before that, why don't we stop for a while and listen to this beautiful song sung by Vivek Tyagi. He's the lead engineer at HCL Technologies Limited, and he will be singing this song for you, "Ae Watan" from the movie Razi, originally sung by Arijit Singh, and we have Vivek Tyagi rendering this beautiful song for our program.
Ae Watan, mere Watan, Ae Watan, आबाद रहे तू, आबाद रहे तू, आबाद रहे तू। हे वतन वतन मेरे आबाद रहे तू, हे वतन वतन मेरे आबाद रहे तू, हे वतन वतन मेरे आबाद रहे तू। मैं जहाँ रहूं जहाँ में याद रहे तू, मैं जहाँ रहूं जहाँ में याद रहे तू। हे वतन मेरे वतन, हे वतन मेरे वतन। तू ही मेरी मंजिल है पहचान तुझे से, मेरी मंजिल है पहचान तुझी से। पहुँचूं मैं जहाँ भी मेरी बुनियाद रहे तू, पहुँचूं मैं जहाँ भी मेरी बुनियाद रहे तू। ऐ वतन वतन मेरे आबाद रहे तू, मैं जहाँ रहूं जहाँ में याद रहे तू। ऐ वतन मेरे वतन, ऐ वतन मेरे वतन। तुझ पे कोई गम की आँच आने नहीं दूं, तुझ पे कोई गम की आँच आने नहीं दूं। कुर्बान मेरी जान तुझ पे शाद रहे तू, कुर्बान मेरी जान तुझ पे शाद रहे तू। ऐ वतन वतन मेरे आबाद रहे तू, मैं जहाँ रहूं जहाँ में याद रहे तू। ऐ वतन मेरे वतन, मेरे वतन, ऐ वतन मेरे वतन, मेरे वतन। आबाद रहे तू, आबाद रहे तू, मेरे वतन आबाद रहे तू।
Beautifully sung, Vivek. Thank you so much. And after this soulful and very heavenly, ethereal rendition of the song "Ae Watan," let's go back to our talk with Colonel Lalit. Colonel Lalit, there are so many questions which are in my mind. So much I want to know from you because your achievements are something which maybe we'll spend a lifetime and not be able to achieve. But with the constraints of time and also your busy schedule, I will try to, touch on the salient points which I would like to know and which I would like you to highlight. And I remember that you were asked to command a battalion which you were not leading before. I mean, you took over this battalion in wartime. So you had not got that equation with the soldiers of the battalion, but you still went ahead. And I don't know, this poem is resonating in my mind. Cannons to the right of them, cannons to the left of them, volleyed and thundered. But you moved on with your soldiers. So how was that experience of taking over when you were told that you have to command and go ahead with this mission impossible and make it possible? So what were those experiences which you would like to share with us? Anything which you think you would like to tell us or highlight? We are all ears.
Thank you for the very, very insightful question regarding the command of a battalion. Let me tell you, Sangeeta, for any young officer, it is his dream to one day be able to command the battalion where he has been commissioned. It's a great honor. It is his test as a true leader as well as a mark of a true leader to command his battalion well. And to command a battalion in war is something much more than anyone could ask for. When the action actually broke out in Kargil, I was commanding a Rashtra Rifle battalion somewhere in Doda district. I was dead tired after about 3 days of ambush where we had successfully eliminated 4 renowned terrorists. And as I even stepped into my room and I was relaxing, I got a call from the colonel of the regiment and he offered the command of the battalion which was in Kargil, since the previous CO had moved out on premature retirement. I did not hesitate and I immediately agreed to command this battalion. I said it would be my honor because of so many reasons. The first reason was my father was commissioned into this battalion which was being offered to me. Though I was not commissioned into the same battalion, but my father was, so I knew. Secondly, the battalion was from my same regiment. So the stock of soldiers, the officers, the JCOs are generally same from the regiment. And knowing the qualities, the sterling qualities of the Gorkha soldier in mountains and in war with the kukris, the young officers were so absolutely focused, determined and well groomed. The JCOs who are the bulwark of our battalions, I knew for sure that I was absolutely taking no chance and I was actually going for a sure thing and I had their full support. And I am proud to tell you today that my officers, my JCOs and all my Jawans, what a sterling performance they did in Kargil War. I never ever had to even look twice. The responsibility and the command was delegated at various levels. Young officers with barely 2 to 3 years of service. They took on challenges and responsibilities beyond their age and service. My JCOs held me in good stead. My company commanders, who were the real ferocious tigers, who held the complete company together during absolute fierce attacks and defense and all types of missions that we undertook during this war. And my soldiers, they are something which is a dream for every commanding officer. A Gorkha soldier with a kukri is invincible. And the way he moves around in the mountains, it's a sight for you to see. I must take a little time and mention over here, at the outbreak of this little bit of a firing and action and activity, my battalion, which was moving on to a peace area, was diverted, and we were one of the first ones to be sent into Kargil War. And we sent out telegrams to all our Jawans who were sent on leave, because we were to move to a peace area. So we said, let them go for leave and then come back into the peace area. And there were hardly about 200 or 300 people with us when the rest of the people were sent on leave. When we sent telegrams, you must understand that our troops who live in Nepal, their houses from the nearest road head is at least 3, 4, 5 nights or days walk away from the road head. And the telegraph offices or the postal service in Nepal is not so well developed. So when the telegram was sent, those soldiers who were there near the road heads or rail heads, they got to know about it. And they took it upon themselves to inform the rest of the soldiers all around. Now here's the thing. They had a good excuse to say that they did not receive any official telegram and they could have avoided coming because they had just gone home. They could have avoided the whole thing. But believe me, every single soldier dropped everything and then they came and concentrated at Siliguri station, New Jalpaiguri station, to take a train ride back to the war front. This is the type of high morale and the type of, that zeal and enthusiasm which our troops have.
I am really amazed. They all just rushed back and did not even think once that they were supposed to be on leave. They just rushed back to fight for their country. Wow. इनके अंदर एक जुनून है, इनके अंदर एक फायर है, इनके अंदर एक लगन है और एक this जज्बा that देश के लिए हम जान भी दे देंगे और जब जरूरत हो तो हम सब कुछ छोड़ के भागेंगे. Actually इससे हमें एक सीख मिलती है because these soldiers are all young men. But they're ready to let go of their future and they're ready to die for the country. अगर हमारे देश के नौजवानों को, हमारे देश के हर बच्चे को ये सीख मिले, ये जज्बा कि अपने देश को अपने से आगे रखो. When the country needs you, put your selfish needs on the side and be there for your country, because if the country progresses, you will also progress. Then there is no way anyone can touch our country. We all as citizens have to fight for our country in our own way. तो हमें हर बच्चे को ये सिखाना है कि नन्ना मुन्ना राही हूँ और देश का सिपाही हूँ. बोलो मेरे संग जय हिंद जय हिंद. तो आइए सुनते हैं ये गाना जिसे मैंने ही गाया है.
नन्ना मुन्ना राही देश का सिपाही, बोलो मेरे संग जय हिंद जय हिंद जय हिंद जय हिंद जय हिंद. नन्ना मुन्ना राही देश का सिपाही, बोलो मेरे संग जय हिंद जय हिंद जय हिंद जय हिंद जय हिंद. मंजिल से पहले न लूंगा कहीं दम, आगे ही आगे बढ़ाऊंगा कदम, दाहिने बाएं हम, नन्हा मुन्ना राजू देश का सिपाही, बोलो मेरे संग जय हिंद जय हिंद जय हिंद जय हिंद जय हिंद। धूप में पसीना में बहाऊंगा जहाँ, हरे हरे खेत लहराएंगे वहाँ, धरती पे पापी न खाएगा जन्म, आगे ही आगे बढ़ाऊंगा कदम, दाहिने बाएं हम, नन्हा मुन्ना राजू देश का सिपाही, बोलो मेरे संग जय हिंद जय हिंद जय हिंद जय हिंद जय हिंद। बड़ा होके देश का सहारा बनूंगा, दुनिया की आंखों का तारा बनूंगा, रखूंगा ऊंचा तिरंगा परचम, आगे ही आगे बढ़ाऊंगा कदम, दाहिने बाएं हम, नन्हा मुन्ना राजू देश का सिपाही, बोलो मेरे संग जय हिंद जय हिंद जय हिंद जय हिंद जय हिंद। नया है ज़माना मेरी नई है गगन, देश को बनाऊंगा मशीनों का नगल, भारत किसी से रहेगा नहीं कम, आगे ही आगे बढ़ाऊंगा कदम, दाहिने बाएं हम, नन्हा मुन्ना राजू देश का सिपाही, बोलो मेरे संग जय हिंद जय हिंद जय हिंद जय हिंद जय हिंद।
Well, this was my humble attempt at singing this song, which is originally sung by Shanti Mathur, and this song was from the film Son of India. So coming back to you, Col.Lalit Rai, and continuing with our conversation, do tell us something more about that mission and how it was, how difficult it was, and how did you all brave it out in those adverse circumstances?
You asked me about the action that the battalion undertook. So many attacks, I'll give you one. The first one that really broke the back of the enemy. This was the capture of Khalubar top. We were given the task of capturing Khalubar top, which was right in the heart of the enemy defences. The only way to reach it was by skirting the defences in front and marching up relentlessly against enemy fire for 14 hours without any rest. And we started out with 2 companies in earnest towards our objective. And every step we took, we were faced with lot of fire from the enemy. Initially the artillery fire, the machine gun fire, and as we approached closer, the fire became more and more intense. And at one point of time, when we were around 600 to 700 yards short of the objectives, the fire was so intense. There were more than 20 to 30 machine guns firing at us, each machine gun spewing death at the rate of almost 1,000 rounds a minute. Those were those AD guns, that is the air defense guns, which are 14.7 mm guns. 1,000 rounds a minute. The velocity at which the bullets were coming at us 2,900 feet per second, and when it hit your chest like that, it made a big neat hole from the front, and when the bullet burst out from the rear, it took at least 1.5 kg of flesh out of your chest, which meant if there were more than one bullet, 2 or 3 bullets on your chest, there was just no chest left. Against this intense firing of machine guns, artillery or rocket launcher, mortar fire, what have you, my battalion kept moving forward. And at one point of time, when we were around 600 odd yards from the objective, we noticed that there were 2 places from where maximum fire was coming. One was from the bunker area to our left, and the other one was the Khalubar top. And we were caught in an absolute crossfire, enemy's deadly crossfire. So that is the time I summoned Captain Manoj Pandey, who's a brave son of Lucknow, and I told him to take his platoon and to make sure that the whole bunker area, I could see 4 bunkers. I said silence all of them and finish those machine guns before they finish us. This young boy, young officer, who had already made a name for himself by undertaking so many operations before this, without a moment of hesitation said, "Sir, it will be done." And he took his platoon there and attacked those 4 bunkers. And while he took his platoon there, with the rest of the boys who were around me, 40 or 50 of them, we charged up towards Khalubar top so that we hit the enemy simultaneously. To cut the story short, Captain Manoj Pandey, when he went there, he saw 6 bunkers instead of 4 of them. And in the ensuing battle, destroying bunker after bunker by crawling close to it and throwing the grenade through the loopholes, which takes just more than just jigger, it takes a lot of guts. Just before the third, he could throw the grenade on the 3rd bunker, he got a burst of bullets on his left. He was bleeding profusely. The 3rd bunker was destroyed, and now the boys told him, "Saab, we will take care of the 4th bunker. You relax here while we take care of it." But look at this young boy. He never gave up. He said, "No, I am in charge over here. The commanding officer had faith in me, and it will be my privilege to give him the victory sign to say that I have accomplished my mission." And he crawled close, by which time he had lost a lot of blood. But then he threw the grenade and destroyed that bunker. The rest of the people who tried to run, my boys charged with the kukri and finished them. But while he was crawled and he was throwing the grenade, a burst of fire from the enemy machine gun hit him straight on his forehead and absolutely burst open his skull. And even as he was falling down, in that absolute nanosecond instant, the last words that he spoke was, "Na chhodnu."
Col.Lalit Rai, you mentioned about the supreme sacrifice of Captain Manoj Pandey. I chanced upon this letter, his last letter to his family. This letter has been read aloud by Colonel R.S. Gill. I just wanted to share it with our listeners.
आदरणीय पापा सदर चरण स्पर्श, मैं यहाँ प्रसन्न पूर्वक रहकर आप लोगों के मंगल की कामना करता हूँ। कल ही सोनू के बारे में पता चला, जानकर प्रसन्नता हुई कि वो ठीक है। यहाँ के हालात आप लोगों को पता ही है, पर आप लोग ज्यादा चिंता ना करें, क्योंकि हमारी पोजीशन दुश्मन से अच्छी है, पर इनको हराने में कम से कम 1 महीने का समय अवश्य लगेगा। तब तक कुछ नहीं कहा जा सकता, बस भगवान पर भरोसा रखना और प्रार्थना करना कि हम अपने मकसद में कामयाब हों। सोनू से कहना कि अगर वो PC4 की कोचिंग करना चाहता है तो वो अच्छी बात है, पर उसके साथ लखनऊ यूनिवर्सिटी में BSc की एडमिशन की भी कोशिश करे। NDA में होएगा तो बहुत अच्छी बात है। गर्मी में अपना ख्याल रखना, कोई सामान की आवश्यकता हो तो मॉल या बाजार से खरीद लेना। यहाँ काफी ठंड है, पर दिन में यहाँ पर बर्फ ना पड़ने पर मौसम ठीक रहता है। आप लोग चिट्ठी अवश्य डालना, क्योंकि लड़ाई के मैदान में के बीच में चिट्ठी पढ़ना कैसा लगता है शायद आप लोग इसका अनुभव नहीं कर सकते। मेरी चिंता ना करना, आपका बेटा मनोज।
Even at that time, he was not thinking about himself. He just said, don't leave them. And the boys completed the job. And he's one brave officer whom I would like to salute, that even in the last seconds of his thing, he had nothing to think of except for the objective and the mission that he was assigned and that he had to complete it. While all this was happening, we took the rest of the boys and went on to Khalubar top and fought over there, fought back a lot of counterattacks till our reinforcements came, and the Khalubar top, we put the Tiranga Jhanda and it was captured. But to go till that place, let me tell you, it was just not the enemy that we faced. You can imagine what the temperatures were at that point of time. Minus 32 degrees Celsius was the ambient temperature. Water also freezes at 0 degrees Celsius. And here we are talking about minus 32 degrees Celsius. You can imagine how we could have survived in that cold. Everything was freezing. We were so cold. We were absolutely hungry. We had not eaten for more than 2-3 days, right from the time of the attack till now, holding up, repulsing counterattacks and then holding on. 2-3 days we have not eaten anything, not a drop of water, because all our water bottles were shredded by bullets, and the snow was absolutely, with lot of this cordite which had come out from the artillery shelling, we could not have that also. That would have given us dysentery and we would have died otherwise in any case. And we were weak, we were hungry, absolutely cold. In a scenario like that also, we held on tenaciously. Reinforcements came and then surged ahead, post by post. And by 26th of July, my battalion had already taken over almost 10 formidable posts of the enemy and put the Tiranga Jhanda and made sure the enemy was sent scampering across the line of control. This was the type of action that my battalion and the brave boys of the battalion did during Kargil War.
I can only say salute, salute, salute. And now a question which is coming up to my mind is death. You saw death at close quarters. Rather, you had death staring at your face. Any time it could strike you. Any minute, rather any second or any millisecond. You don't know whether you would be here or gone forever. And then you saw the death of so many of your soldiers, and it must be a very, very difficult task to see people falling right in front of you but still charging on. And also that jasba to fight for your motherland. Could you highlight on these points?
You talk about death. Death perhaps is one of the most terrifying things for human beings. And the irony is, though we know that there are only two things constant in life, one is change and the other one is death. And it is something which no one can avoid. Yet, when we are faced with death, you lose all sense. You freeze at the thought of it, and people sometimes panic thinking about the death. We faced many situations, many times and many moments when we were nanoseconds away, micromillimeters away from death. They say a cat has got 9 lives, and I dare say most of our troops, we would have faced death and also got saved more than 9 times during this war. So, when people ask me, Colonel, how is it, that people face death? Bullets are flying. They can hit you and you can be torn apart any moment. How is it that you can still get the boys to get up and charge against those machine guns and, bullets which are raining on you? And to this I have one thing. And they say, how did you motivate your men? So I tell them that this is not motivation. This is a term which I always use and teach people. This is called volition. VOLITION. This volition is much like your karma yogi concept. And the karma yogi concept says, phal ki chinta na kar, karam kiye ja. In motivation, it is always transactional. If you do this, you will achieve this. If you do this, you will earn a medal. If you do this, you will be recognized. If you do this, you will get promoted. If you do this, there is a good chance you will get some award, reward, etc., etc. But as a karma yogi concept, phal ki chinta na kar, karam kiye ja. In other words, you are not doing it to gain something out of it, to get something out of it, or for some incentive, or for some reward. You are doing it because you know and you consider it your bounden duty to do that. And deep down you are convinced that this is my duty as a soldier to protect my country, and for doing that, even if I have to lay down my life, no problem. I would sacrifice everything. And this is how my boys fought fearlessly and faced death. Now, talking about death again, so many of us saw death at close quarters many times. I can tell you one or two instances. Whenever a boy used to get shot on the move up, I used to sit down there next to a boulder, taking cover next to a boulder, and I used to put this boy on my lap. And wherever there were bullet holes in his chest, I would put a snowball there so that I stop the flow of blood and the loss of blood. And I would tell the boy, Beta, I can't do anything for you now. The least I can do is I can leave a water bottle for you here and I can take you to a cover. You keep firing up towards the enemy while we charge up. Because I know that unless and until we reach that objective and we capture it before it is daylight, all of us will be finished tomorrow if we can't achieve that. And look at the spirit of the boys. Even in their moments of absolute agony and pain, they would say, Saab, we understand that our mission is most important to be accomplished. Leave us, go now. But Saab, promise me you will come back soon and you take me down for treatment. And I would say, yes, I would do that. And he would say, Saab, my blood is oozing out and I feel hollow inside. But I know I will try to hang on as far as possible. Please finish your job and come back fast. And the only sad part, Sangeeta, here is, after a couple of days, when I came down through the same route looking for my boys, I saw a couple of them. Their rifles were still pointing towards the enemy. The finger were squeezing the trigger. They were frozen solid and there were not a single bullet left in the magazine. And that meant they died fighting till the last bullet and the last man. This is the quality of our soldier, our Indian Army soldier. They are the true Ratnas. They are the true valuable assets that we have in our nation. Absolutely dedicated, focused, and fearless, indomitable soldiers.
I'm totally speechless, lost of words. Such men exist. Such men do exist. And this is what soldiers are made of. And while they were dying also, they were fighting for their country. That image is actually flashing in my mind. And what you saw, what you experienced, what you went through, hats off to you. You came back to tell us this tale. some did not. And I know how it must be feeling to lose so many of your soldiers, to see them dying and still go on relentlessly because you have to fight for your country. So let's pause for a while. Let's sit down and reflect. And while doing so, let's listen to this lovely song from the movie Rang De Basanti. It is sung originally by Mohit Chauhan and the music is by A.R. Rahman. And singing this for us on this program is Ayan Ray, who's from Bangalore and a clinical project manager. And the song which he's going to sing is Khoon Chala.
कुछ कर गुजरने को खून चला आंखों के शीशे में उतरने को खून चला बदन से टपक कर जमीन से लिपट कर गलियों से रस्तों से उभर कर उमड़ कर नए रंग भरने को खून चला खुली सी चोट लेकर बड़ी सी तीस लेकर आहिस्ता आहिस्ता सवालों की उम्मीद जवाबों की मुट्ठी संग लेकर खून चला कुछ कर गुजरने को खून चला आंखों के शीशे में उतरने को खून चला बदन से टपक कर जमीन से लिपट कर गलियों से रस्तों से उभर कर उमड़ कर नए रंग भरने को खून चला 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 खून चला
वाओ कुछ कर गुजरने को खून चला आंखों के शीशे में उतरने को खून चला बदन से टपक कर जमीन से लिपट कर गलियों से रस्तों से उभर कर उमड़ कर नए रंग भरने को खून चला What beautiful lyrics and beautifully rendered by you, Ayan. Thank you so much. Col.Lalit Rai, coming back to you, one last question which I want to ask you is what is that you want to share with our listeners? Some message which you want to give to them. You have lived 1,000 lifetimes in one. So what do you want to tell our listeners? Something which comes to your mind at the moment which you would like to share.
Let me tell you, Dr. Sangeeta, one question that always eats our mind, a soldier's mind, is look, we are making all these sacrifices, supreme sacrifices of lives, young lives, people who had their own ambitions, the extreme discomfort, hardships that we face while being stationed and positioned at the border areas. Is it all worth it? Do people even understand what we are doing for them? But here I would like to tell you, people like you, Dr. Sangeeta, and Radio Lucknow, in your own small way, you are actually sending us a message to say, look, we care. And this message comes to us straight. I will tell you of an instance that after the war, I as a commanding officer was devastated. Though we had achieved much, but then at what cost? Look at the young lives that I lost. Those young boys who had ambitions, who had families like yours, who had children like yours, lost at the prime of their youth. Fighting for whom? For you, for the nation, giving their everything, sacrificing their complete lives. And I was very, very, very troubled by these thoughts. And I said, I will not. I was very angry at heart and I said, I will not speak to anybody for some time. Let me at least relax in my brain and then only I'll speak and talk to people. And then one day, my officer brought 2 suitcases full of letters. He said, these are for you. I said, how is it possible? So many letters for me. And when you open these boxes, there were letters which were addressed to the commanding officer of the battalion. And we opened them. When we opened these envelopes, from inside, where those pages from the notebooks, you could make out that some tiny hand has torn it because it was not even torn properly in an unequal manner. And with small, absolutely childlike art, they had made a Jawan with a gun over there with his hand extended, and these people, a small girl was tying a rakhi and saying, and under that they had scribbled, Pyare Fauji Bhaiya, we love you. Please come home soon. Be safe. Please come home soon. And we want you to be safe. We love you. You won't believe it, Dr. Sangeeta. That small message scribbled by a child, when I just opened the first envelope, and all these envelopes contained some message like this with the rakhi, some with flowers, some with hearts made over there. It really touched my heart. I choked over there, and I even cried over there, thinking, look, we thought we were out here alone, but now I understood that there are people who care. And it was worth all the effort. And that day I took it upon myself that whenever given a chance, I must tell the tale of bravery of my boys, of my officers, of my JCOs, of my Jawans, and how they sacrificed everything for you guys. So with that, I would say just 2 things which I would, as a soldier, like all of you listeners, to take a little heed on. The first thing is discipline. Our nation, our public, our people need to inculcate a sense of discipline. Today the army is looked up upon because of the fantastic discipline that they have. And this discipline does not mean just the physical aspect of wearing clean clothes and being on time. That is just a manifestation. Discipline actually means self-discipline, your mental discipline. What do you think? And for me, the definition of discipline is not what you do when someone is watching you. It is what you do when nobody is watching you. So whatever you do, please do which is correct. Don't do anything that would bring down the name of your family, you, yourself, your own self-esteem in your own eyes. Always do something which is good for others. Help people. This will make you focused, because even in war, when we were facing all those machine gun fires, that cold, that freezing, the amount of weight, breathlessness, no oxygen, etc., etc. But even in those circumstances, because we were absolutely disciplined soldiers, focused, it kept us focused, and we kept on plodding up against the enemy fire, and we accomplished what we had to accomplish. So, discipline is one thing I would say kindly look into, because we as a nation, we must have a national character. People must look at us and say, look at these people. The Japanese today are respected everywhere in the world because of their superb discipline. Other part is the tolerance part. Here I would say we need to be a little more tolerant towards the other man's religion, the other man's way of life, the other man's point of view. And I believe that if you have a little respect for your own people or the other human being, if you have love and respect for each other, the action or the idea of tolerance will always be there. And you will be, because of the respect, you will tolerate, not only tolerate, you will respect the other's way of life too. If these two things we take care of, our nation is great and nobody can stop us from becoming a superpower. With that happy note and a note for you to give a little thought, I leave you here. Jai Hind.
Col.Lalit Rai, I'm really moved and touched. And actually, I have no words to express the gratitude to all those who are fighting for us, for all the soldiers. And you have been one who came back to tell us the story. And we are so proud of you. Thank you so much for coming here. And Jai Hind.
Something I would like to add is that in 2003 war film LOC Kargil, Bollywood actor Sudesh Berry played the role of Colonel Lalit Rai. And when I asked Colonel Lalit Rai which patriotic Hindi song is your favorite and which you would like us to play, he specially mentioned Teri Mitti. Teri Mitti is a song which features as a tribute to soldiers on the soundtrack of the 2019 film Kesari, which is based on the Battle of Saraigadi, which took place in 1897. The lyrics were written by Manoj Muntashir, the music composed by Arko Pravo Mukherjee, and it was sung by B. Prak. So let's listen to this song. Rendering this song is our young engineer Shashi Negi. So here we go.
तलवारों पे सर वार दिए, अंगारों में जिसमें जलाया है, तब जाके कहीं हमने सर पे ये केसरी रंग सजाया है। है मेरी ज़मीं अफसोस नहीं जो तेरे लिए सौ दर्द सही, महफूज रहे मेरी आन सदा, चाहे जान मेरी ये रहे न रहे। है मेरी ज़मीं महबूब मेरी नस नस में तेरा इश्क बहे, फीका न पड़े कभी रंग तेरा, जिस्मों से निकल के खून कहे। तेरी मिट्टी में मिल जावा गुल बन के, मैं खिल जावा इतनी सी है दिल की आरज़ू। तेरी नदियों में बह जावा, तेरे खेतों में लहरावा इतनी सी है दिल की आरज़ू। रसों से भरे खलियान मेरे, जहाँ झूम के भंगड़ा पा न सका। आबाद रहे वो गांव मेरा, जहाँ लौट के वापस जा न सका। ओ वतनावे मेरे वतनावे, तेरा मेरा प्यार निराला था। कुर्बान हुआ तेरे असमत पे, मैं कितना नसीबों वाला था। तेरी मिट्टी में मिल जावा गुल बन के, मैं खिल जावा, इतनी सी है दिल की आरज़ू। तेरी नदियों में बह जावा, तेरे खेतों में लहरावा, इतनी सी है दिल की आरज़ू। ओ हीर मेरी तू हंसती रही, तेरी आंख घड़ी भर नम ना हो। मैं मरता था जिस मुखड़े पे, कभी उसका उजाला कम ना हो। ओ माई मेरी क्या फिक्र तुझे, क्यों आंख से दरिया बहता है। तू कहती थी तेरा चांद हूँ मैं, और चांद हमेशा रहता है। तेरी मिट्टी में मिल जावा गुल बन के, मैं खिल जावा, इतनी सी है दिल की आरज़ू। तेरी नदियों में बह जावा, तेरे खेतों में लहरावा, इतनी सी है दिल की आरज़ू। केसरी
Thank you so much, Shashi Negi, for singing the song Teri Mitti, and I hope Colonel Lalit Rai also enjoyed listening to it. And now, moving on to our third segment.
No matter how many times I've heard this segment, no matter how many times I will hear this in the future, I will always be engulfed and enveloped by this feeling of complete pride that these are our soldiers. I feel like standing up and saluting. I feel like bowing my head down to them. And I'm sure all the listeners feel the same. So let's all stand up and salute them. And it's time for Lucknow Radio and your host Dr. Sangeeta Sachdeva to say goodbye and Jai Hind. And we'll be meeting again next Sunday with the third segment of Watan Tere Liye.
दिया है जो
ये थी आपके सपनों का रेडियो, आपका अपना रेडियो लखनऊ रेडियो की विशेष सभा की पेशकश, जो सजी थी कुछ यादों, बातों और गीतों से। यादें वो जो घटित हुई खुद पे, बातें वो जो बिना किसी दिखावटी शब्द जाल के कही गई, गीत वो जिसमें देशभक्ति दर्शाई गई। मां भारती को करते हुए प्रणाम, वीरों को करते हुए नमन, याद आ रही है मुझे माखनलाल चतुर्वेदी की वो 4 लाइनें। मुझे तोड़ लेना बनमाली, उस पथ पर देना तुम फेंक, मातृभूमि पर शीश चढ़ाने, जिस पथ जावे वीर अनेक, जिस पथ जावे वीर अनेक। वंदे मातरम।
अभी तक आप हमारे विशेष कार्यक्रम सुन रहे थे। हमें आशा है कि आपको यह कार्यक्रम पसंद आए होंगे। इसी के साथ आज की यह सभा समाप्त होती है। यह लखनऊ रेडियो है। आइए अब हम सब सुनते हैं हमारे ही साथियों के गाए हुए कुछ विशेष गीत।